Lucy. I decided I would read you a story out of our 5-minute stories about the elves and the shoemakers, because I know you've been playing with your little Christmas elf. I forget his name, but anyway. This is a story that was written many, many, many years ago, over 100 years ago, about elves and a shoemaker. It goes like this. There was once a shoemaker, and there's what he looks like, making shoes. He lived with his wife. Although they worked from dawn until dusk, they were very poor. We have only enough leather to make one pair of shoes to sell, the shoemaker told his wife one day. What will become of us? Asked the shoemaker's wife. How can we live without money? The shoemaker shook his head sadly. He cut out the leather and he left it on his workbench, ready to start work on it the next day. Then the couple went to bed with heavy hearts. That means they were really sad because they didn't have any more money. In the middle of the night, when the house was quiet and pale moonlight shone into the workshop, 2 elves appeared. They were dressed in rags, but had bright eyes, and their eyes were as bright as buttons. They explored the workshop, balancing on thread reels and peering into cupboards. Soon they found that leather. Elves are busy little creatures, so they set to work right at once, snipping and sewing, and as they worked they sang this song. Busy little elves are we, working by the pale moonlight, while the humans are asleep, we are busy through the night. And there they are. See them? They're working on the shoes. By dawn, the 2 little elves had finished their work and disappeared. When the shoemaker came to start work the next morning, he could not believe his eyes. There, on his workbench, was the finest pair of shoes that he had ever seen. The stitches are so delightful, he said, and he showed his astonished wife the beautiful shoes. I will place them right in the window for everyone to see. Soon, a rich gentleman, that's somebody with lots of money, walked up into the store. He saw the stylish shoes and he came inside. The rich man tried the shoes on and they fit him perfectly. He was so delighted that he gave the shoemaker twice the amount of money that he was asking for. I can buy more leather, said the shoemaker. I can buy more leather. Oh, his wife was so happy. That evening, the shoemaker cut out the leather for 2 pairs of shoes. He left it on the workbench for the next morning. In the middle of the night, the 2 elves appeared again. They explored the workshop, climbing on the tools and swinging from shoelaces, and soon they found the leather. The elves set to work at once, snipping and sewing. As they worked, they sang, Busy little elves are we, working by the pale moonlight, while the humans are asleep, we are busy through the night. And here they are right here, a picture of them for you. See them dancing there? Cute little elves. By dawn, the little elves had finished their work and disappeared. Once again, the shoemaker came into the workshop and found the shoes neatly finished on his bench. The shoemaker placed the shoes in his window. By now, the rich gentleman had told all of his friends about the shoemaker's fine work. The 2 pairs of shoes sold that very same day for more money than the shoemaker could ever have dreamed of. The shoemaker now had enough money to buy leather to make 4 new pairs of shoes. But who is it that could be helping us? Asked the shoemaker's wife. I just had to move a thing. That evening, the shoemaker cut out the leather for 4 more pairs of shoes, and he left it on the workbench, just as usual. Then the shoemaker and his wife hid, and they waited. In the middle of the night, they watched in amazement as 2 little elves appeared. As usual, the elves explored the workshop. They danced with colorful ribbons and juggled pretty beads. Soon, they found the leather. Again the elves set to work snipping and sewing. As they worked, they sang. Busy little elves are we, working by the pale moonlight, while the humans are asleep. We are busy through the night. By dawn, the two little elves had finished their work and disappeared. And there's a picture of them peeking at the elves while the elves are running off. Well, we must repay those little elf helpers for their kindness, said the shoemaker to his wife. The couple thought hard about how they could do things to help the elves, to thank the elves. The wife said, they were dressed in wet rags. Why don't we make some of the finest new clothes we can? Although they were now very busy in their store, the shoemaker and his wife spent every spare moment they had making these gifts for the elves. They cut out fine cloth and leather and sewed tiny seams. Soon they had made 2 little pairs of pants, 2 smart coats, 2 sturdy pairs of boots, and 2 warm woolly scarves. They placed the little outfits on the workbench for the elves to find. See, there they are. And there's their house. See them working in there? That's coming next. That night, when the house was quiet and pale moonlight shone into the workshop, the shoemaker and his wife hid and waited. They watched happily as the 2 elves appeared. As usual, the elves explored the workshop. They made a tightrope from thread and bounced on a pin cushion. Soon they found the little outfits, and they were delighted. They put on the pants and the coats and the boots and the scarves, and they danced merrily around the workshop. And as they danced, they sang, handsome little elves are we, dancing by the pale moonlight, while the humans are asleep, we make merry through the night. And then the smart little elves put on their hats and disappeared. The shoemaker and his wife never saw the elves again. But the couple continued to make fine shoes for their store. And from that day on, they always prospered. That means they never ran out of money again, and they always had enough money to make more shoes and sell them for money, so they'd have enough to eat and keep their house and everything. So here's that last picture again for you to see. And I think I'll quickly just show you the pictures all the way through again. There's the elf with his making shoes, or not the elf, the old shoemaker making shoes. And there's the elf sewing and doing the favor for him. And here's the elves after they make the 2 pretty pairs of shoes. And here's the elf and the shoemaker and his wife peeking on the elves when they were making things. And here's the little clothes they made for them. And there's their shop. And you can see the little elves dancing there in the bottom. And the shoemaker and his wife inside. Well, I hope you enjoy that, my little darling, my sweetie. I miss you so much, and I'm going to see you in just a little over 4 weeks. So that's going to be nice. I love you so much. Imagine it's you I'm hugging, not this book.